In a sleepy fishing village by the coast there lived an old craftsman named Riku. He didn't speak much. His shop was small, filled with the scent of salt water and sawdust and packed with forgotten things, broken oars, half-sanded planks, and ropes that once held great sails. But what Riku was known for, what people whispered about, was that he could bring wooden boats back to life. Boats others had given up on. Boats so broken, they were more memory than vessel. One afternoon, a young man named Kenji arrived at his workshop, carrying a piece of his past. It was a small wooden rowboat, weathered, cracked, and barely holding itself together. It hadn't touched the water in 15 years. "This belonged to my mother," Kenji said. "She used to take me out in it every weekend when I was a boy. After she passed, I stored it away. I want it restored." Riku studied the boat, running his fingers along the edges. The paint was chipped, the wood swollen with age, and barnacles clung to the underside like memories refusing to let go. "Can you fix it?" Kenji asked. Riku simply nodded and said, "Come back in 7 days." When Kenji returned, he expected to see a polished, re-varnished boat gleaming in the sunlight. But the boat looked almost the same, only gently cleaned, not transformed. The cracks still showed. The wood still sagged slightly. "Is this a joke?" Kenji asked. "You barely touched it." Riku looked at him calmly. "I spent the week listening to it." Kenji blinked. "Listening to a boat?" The old man nodded. "Boats, like people, remember. This one remembers your mother's hands, the rhythm of her rowing, the laughter echoing off its sides. It didn't stop floating because it was broken. It sank because no one needed it anymore." Kenji stepped back. "That's not possible." Riku placed a hand on the side of the boat. "It was grieving." Kenji laughed bitterly. "It's just wood." "So are trees," Riku said. "But leave one alone and it still reaches for the sun." Kenji didn't respond. Riku gestured toward a quiet pool behind his workshop where the sea crept in through a narrow channel. He gently slid the boat into the water. For a moment, it rocked, then floated, hesitantly, but afloat. "It still floats," Kenji whispered. Riku nodded. "It always could. It just didn't want to." He turned to face the young man. "You wanted me to restore its shape, but the boat didn't need sanding or varnish. It needed purpose." Kenji stared at the gently bobbing boat. "I haven't been near the water in years. It just hurt too much." Riku stepped back. "That's not the boat's fault. It was waiting for you to be ready." Kenji sat in silence for a moment, watching it drift gently in the shallow current. Riku added, "Some things, when left unused, don't break. They wait. They wait for us to forgive, to remember, to return." The wind shifted slightly and the boat creaked, a familiar sound that made Kenji's eyes well with tears. He reached out and touched it. "Let's go for a ride, old friend." Riku simply smiled and returned to his workshop. Not everything abandoned is broken. Some things wait in silence, for grief to pass, for love to return, for us to be ready to float again.